Jacob Humper here with MurRiderAthletics.com, and I'm joined alongside head football coach Brad Smiley and defensive line coach TJ Langley, who's also the recruiting coordinator for the MurRider football program. And gentlemen, I know it's an exciting day, one you guys look forward to all year long, probably more so from the relief side of things now that you know you got these guys locked in and they're now MurRiders. And Coach Smiley, just give us a general statement, kind of your overall excitement for this class.
Well, I appreciate it, Pump, man. It's first and foremost, it's incredible to bring a group of guys, to this campus, into this program that's got so much energy right now, so many great things going forward. Coming off of last season, 10 wins, and really to put together, honestly, top to bottom, our top class, best class, and. It's there's some unbelievably talented kids here, and they'll plug in. I mean, that's the thing. We've only lost 5 starters off of last year's team. We only lost, probably, I think, 7 guys in our 2 deep. So, we bring a lot of pieces back, but we had to supplement, some things. But it gave us the first time. This is really the first of my 3 classes. We get a chance to start kind of building and looking to the future, and just not, hey, we got to find these immediate impact guys. Guys that we can get in this program and develop. And, there's 22 total guys, 19 high school that we signed today, 3 that we brought in at break, which were big needs for us. Getting a chance to plug in a big nose guard that's played a couple years of college football, incredible athlete from Prescott. Travion Dickens, who was a big recruit last year in the area, signed with the Army. It was just a long way from home, so to get a chance for him to come back home and to get him, he's, an absolute steal. He plays defense. He can play defensive back. He can play running back. There's a ton he can do. We're going to start him off the defensive side of the ball. But, and then Rasheem Green, we needed to plug in another older, experienced wide receiver. And this guy's been starting at Angelo State for the last 3 years and been one of their leaders. And, he just he wanted to get to a place that felt like they were going to throw the football a little bit more and give him some more opportunities. And but that's the great thing. We can get into these guys later on, in detail, but just the relationships that this coaching staff has, really across our 3-state region, that we're really recruiting the heck out of. Just we use the brand Arklatex U. Obviously, South Arkansas and Louisiana and Texas is huge for us, but that Dallas area, that Houston area, a lot more from this class. And so as you get through this business, year 28 for me, and we're just blessed to have great relationships, and just the high school coaches alone, because they have no problem sitting down there and telling a kid in the class, and that happened several times, that, hey, this would be a great place to be. They're going to take great care of you. They're winning, the whole deal. And even, some of these guys, Drake Griffin, I've known him since 8th grade. You know what I mean? You get a chance to watch that cat play and grow up, and, his whole high school career. So it's fun to see things come full circle, that's for sure.
And Coach Langley, throwing this over to you, obviously being in charge of recruiting, just bringing these guys on campus, a lot goes into that. And then once you get them here, they've got a full schedule from once they arrive to when they get in the car and head back home. Kind of talk a little bit about the process that takes, what it takes to bring these guys in and get them through their time here at SAU.
Honestly, it's pretty smooth, man. The staff we have, they do a great job of evaluating guys, guys that love football and value great education. So we already kind of have them pinpointed way back in the spring, and then throughout the summer, building the relationships and then getting guys to games and things like that. But this place makes it really easy. Definitely want to give a huge shout out to Miss Shelley Whaley. She's a huge piece to the day as it goes on. She gets in there, and being the mother of 2 student athletes, having gone to school here, her husband gone to school here, so she can really bring a bunch of value and insight from that side of things. And then obviously up into administration, Dr. Ranking, Cheryl Edwards, Coach Browning, and they just make it feel like a very welcome place. Like they say, it feels like home. So once we get them here, it's almost a done deal once we can get them on the campus.
Say it's just it's kind of the cherry on top once you get them to Magnolia. It's already kind of been decided for most of them.
Correct.
Coach Smiley, your 3rd recruiting class, 22 new young men, like you just mentioned. The Arklatex U aspect of it were 12 out of Texas, 7 from Arkansas, 3 from just south in Louisiana. Let's focus on the offensive side of things. You guys have done a lot of really good things the last 2 years, or first 2 years under your system. Talk about a little bit about these pieces you brought in on offense and how you expect them to kind of, like you said, plug in right away.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it always starts up front. So, I mean, you got to start on the offensive line. And really, you know, we only lost one starter off of last year's crew, one guy in the whole room. So we were picky this year. You know, we knew it was going to be a small class. I mean, I know there's schools in the conference and they're bragging about, oh, we got 30 this and 30 that, but we weren't going to have that. You know, we only lost 7, 8 guys total in our program. So for us, this was, you know, and there's some great football players out there. We didn't have the numbers to go get. You know, it was just like, we're going to take 1 or 2 at each position. Offensive line, we wanted to sign 1 inside guy, 2 tackles. We got that. You know, we were done pretty early with Tate Settle. You know, Tate's a guy that actually, Mackenzie Hamilton and Sarah Jennings area and Amanda, the whole preview day, he had come down in the spring for a preview day, and it just happened to be the day we were doing our junior day. And we see this big old barrel-chested kid wearing his Brian Hornet shirt, and we're like, hey, man, you know, we introduced ourselves, and you play ball? He said, yeah, I play ball. And, I mean, I'm down here with the school or whatever to look at the university. And, man, this guy's, you know, won multiple state titles. So, you know, as an inside kid, we ID'd Tate, and he came to camp and a couple ball games, and he committed really early in the process. I think the very first weekend he committed. He might have been the first guy to blow the horn this year.
Nice.
And then our 2 tackles, Antonio Johnson, Garland Lakeview Centennial, you know, long, athletic, and really, really run. When you cut on his highlights, I think the first 7 of plays are him pulling on GT counter, and he's out in space, locking up defensive backs, and then, with Tate's, I mean, Tyler's a big barrel-chested, long. We'll start him at tackle. That's where we think he plugs in well. That's what he played his whole high school career. He's a left tackle, but, he's a guy that's got the size. He could go inside as well. So it's almost like a true inside guy, a true tackle, and then Tyler who could swing back and forth. We knew tight end. Tight end was really the position that took the biggest hit, tight end and quarterback this year. We signed 2 high school tight ends, and they really bring something different to the table. Losing K. Reed, losing G Unit. We got Witt coming back. We got Nate Minnie, who's really coming on, doing some good things as a youngster. Miles has got to work through some rehab from his injury. So we need to find a couple cats that we felt like could come in and play. And, Drake Griffin is, again, I've seen this cat play football for a long time. He's a Jacob Hester type. He's a running back, in their system, fullback. He can play H-back, tight end. Very, very physical. He was an all-state defensive lineman. This year he was an all-state linebacker. I mean, he's returned kicks for touchdowns. He can catch. I mean, he does it all. He can fish. There's nothing this cat can't do. I mean, and he's just such a great kid. He's just perfect for the program. He's going to come in. He's going to work. He's a blue-collar guy. I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun to have him. Known his family for a while, so we know exactly what we're getting out of Drake Griffin. Then Lawson Worthy from Greenbrier. He was one of the top 2 guys on the board all along that we just thought was that versatile, Matt Witten type mismatch. Plays a ton of receiver, but still would get in the backfield and do some things with him from the run game standpoint. So, that was big. So he's a playmaker. I think, he's going to cause some defenses, some matchup problems, and that's kind of what we needed to get another guy that we felt like could do the things that Matt did after Matt, when Matt rolls off after his senior year. So, running back, KT Thomas, Catravian from Mineral Springs. He's a special athlete. He plays both sides of the ball. He played quarterback freshman, sophomore year. He can play safety. He can play nickel, but he's a tailback. I mean, he's with the ball in his hand, he's dangerous. And, that's kind of what we felt like we were getting. He's 190 pounds, 6'1", long athlete. And we're going to start him up at tailback, but there's a ton that he can do. He's kind of like Travion Dickens. I mean, there's so many things. They're just football players, great students and take care of business and, from that standpoint. And then quarterback, really, it's the other spot because, we lost OB, Jake Smith, also had graduated and he was moving on. So we felt like, let's go find 2 good ones and 2 guys that do something different. And, Caleb Johnson had already signed here in baseball. He's a ball player, man. I know he's a catcher for Coach Pettigrew on his recruiting class and what he feels like is a big-time prospect for him. So, he can run around, make plays with his feet, with his arm. He's got a great arm. He, when I first met him in the spring and then Coach Horsecamp brought those guys over to our 7-on-7, our Mule Rider shootout, and he put on a show. And this is 2 years in a row. We signed Adam Parker. We offered him for the first time last year off the shootout before. We got these guys all day long. I'm watching them compete, get to championship games, just make plays after play after play. And so really excited. And then, we had him, obviously, had been committed since mid-fall. So it's like, we need to go get a quarterback, something we don't have in the room. Right? And that's that big, strong arm, drop back guy that's still very athletic. And that's CJ Hitchcock, man. Colin he's 6'4", he's 220 pounds. I mean, he can run, but he's got that big arm and he can stand in the pocket and deliver. And so, does a lot of things kind of like you'd say would be a Judd, but he's doing it on a much bigger frame. And we didn't have that guy in the room. So to get CJ, man, were we excited. All Christmas break, I'm just watching quarterbacks and evaluating. Obviously, we had gone through the staff change at OC, so I'm just watching. And this guy, man, he's the top of the list when we came out of break, so we got to get CJ to campus as quick as we can. In fact, the first time I called him, I talked to him. He answered the phone. He was on the beach in Jamaica with his family. I'm like, what are you answering the phone for?
Exactly.
You in Jamaica?
That's
but
right.
He's like, man, Coach, I'm ready to roll. He wants to be a ball player. So, from the offensive stand, I think we hit them all right. 2 quarterbacks, 2 tight ends, a tailback, 3 offensive linemen.
So, yeah.
How can I forget wideouts, man? Hey, Telly Wells, Arkansas High, the best receiver we had on our board all along. We got our top dude. He, it's funny, man. Again, you talk about relationships. Telly's dad and I bumped into each other a long time. We figured this out. They came in for a ball game last fall and came to a home game. And his dad, he pulls up. He had a picture of me on his phone. I mean, this is back at the Trinity Valley days when I had a lot more hair. And, it was just funny. I mean, the connection was through the roof. Everybody in the GAC wanted this cat. When I was at another high school in the Texarkana area, and they're like, man, I saw y'all got Telly Wells. That's the fastest kid in Texarkana. And, just everybody knows him. He started out at Liberty Ilo, finished up at Arkansas High. Everybody knows him. I mean, he's a weapon. I mean, he's that true X, that we've been trying to work and develop and find that just true X, that man-on-man beater, that singled receiver off their backside that can just go beat people one-on-one. And, that's couldn't be more fired up. Again, he took the GAC World Tour, I call it, and visited all the schools. But very fortunate to land him. And for me, that's what it's all about, man. I just, these cats, they know what we do offensively. The numbers speak for themselves. So this has been year 19 with this offense, and it didn't matter where we're at. We're going to put up the numbers. So these guys just want to come in and have some fun and go to work. But it's more about how we do things than what we do specifically. So, to add him into the room as a youngster, we talked about Rasheen earlier coming in, as an elder statesman with one to play as a grad transfer. So, we feel like there's no question we got better today.
And Coach, you got to think for both of y'all, anytime those guys blow the horns, it's special. But when you get a top guy off or you get a guy that's top of the board, you're probably maybe even a couple more handshakes and high fives and fist bumps going on.
No question. There's no hole in my wall this year. After year one, when the horn blew on somebody, Coach Pond hit my office door so hard it went through the wall on the other side. So I had to get it fixed. But, they came in a little bit more gently, but they would come from the locker room hooping and hollering and having some fun with it. So, no, I'm with you. Yeah, I know what you're saying. But there's not a cat up here that didn't start near the top at every position. And that's what gets us so fired up, because we were in position to be picky. So we kind of hung in there with some guys. And there was a couple guys at a couple spots we lost late that actually we lost both of them to Division I schools. So, it is what it is. But I was going to hang in there with them. Sure. We weren't pigeonholed where we got to have this certain many, because there's a lot of good players still out there right now. And so, I'd love to get a gif of Kobe up here. Job's not finished. You know what I mean? We're always looking. We're always recruiting.
I heard that, Coach Langley. So Coach Smiley kind of mentioned about the about the 7-on-7 camps and things like that. So throughout the course of a season, obviously there's a lot going on. You're trying to win ball games, and it's week to week. It's hard. It's not easy to win in this league, especially on the road. Things like that. Things we kind of hear. Day in and day out throughout the year, each season. Talk a little bit about how you balance the recruiting aspect of it while also, like I just mentioned, you're trying to win ball games.
It's really extremely easy. Our staff does a phenomenal job of building relationships with guys, going to the schools in the spring, getting the names, getting the guys up on the board, communicating them throughout that process, and then getting these guys down to camps, and then continuing to build the relationships. And so by the time we're getting to the fall, those relationships are already built, and those guys are so fired up to get to campus. It's really extremely easy, just due to the fact that our coaching staff does such a great job of taking ownership within their area and building those relationships with the student athletes throughout the summer. So it's extremely easy.
And then, of course, you go out and you win 10 games and you get some hardware. You get some hardware at the end of the season. That certainly helps.
No doubt.
Get some guys on board for sure. Looking on the defensive side of the football, Coach Smiley, obviously, that had a really good year on that side of the football. Talk a little bit about how you were able to bring in a couple of guys you've mentioned a couple of times already. You didn't have to be picky, or you could be picky.
Yes.
You didn't have to feel like, we got to go grab two or three of these guys just to say we've got numbers. You wanted to go get specific guys, and you were able to land them.
Yeah, well, I tell you, I'll hit some of these guys, and I'll let Coach talk about the trench mob, because that's probably the most impressive group of. I don't know if there's a team in the league that signed a group of lead linemen what's about to come in, but for me, on the defensive side of the ball, back on the secondary, you look at, and again, kind of going with the theme of just some ball players that are just football players, right? We talked about KT on the offensive side of the ball and guys that do a lot of things, but Tut McLaughlin, Tut from Spring Hill. He's from Cotton Valley, but went to North Webster. He was at Calvary Baptist for 3 years prior to that. So again, another guy that's won state titles. And but Tut's just one of those dudes, man. He came to every prospect camp that we had, all three of them. And he went out there and he covered everybody. I mean, he didn't care. I don't know if anybody caught a pass on Tut that entire week. And he's a competitor. He shows up ready to roll. I'm at the All-Star practice down there in North Louisiana. They got the I-20 Bowl, so
Yes.
It's the East versus the West. And on the West side, the Shreveport-Bossier teams, he was on that. I go to that practice one night, and because you get to see all these great ball players out there from the area. And I remember asking, I asked every assistant coach out there and the head coach, and they were all from the different high schools in the region, in the area. And I was like, hey, who's the best player out here? Oh, Coach, that's Tut. Oh, that's Tut. And I was like, really? What is he? What would you do with him? It's like, Coach, we're going to do everything with him. There's nothing he can't do. Because, he plays receiver, he plays DB, he returns kicks, he returns punts. And I just thought, to me, that sealed the deal for me on Tut. Just hearing the coaches that have been with him all week say he's the best player out here. And you're talking about a team that probably had 35, 40 of the best football players in North Louisiana. There were kids from Natchitoches on that team. There were kids up as far as Spring Hill on that team. So that was really cool. And Demarion Williams at safety, very physical. Flies around, he'll strike you. That's the biggest thing, man. He is physical, and that's the way we play ball, fast and physical. You got to play that way on the defensive side of the ball. And these guys could maybe be a little slender. We'll get them there. We've got 5 senior defensive backs this year. Do we have to have them come in and plug in and play right away? Not necessarily, but it'd be great if they do, and it'd be a bonus. And again, that's kind of the key to finally get to this point where we can be picky and we can bring the right guys in the program, and you don't have to take a guess. There are no guesses in these 22. You know what I mean? We've seen these cats in person. We've seen them compete. The camps. The shootout and the big man challenge we do, and I just thank to the high school coaches for getting those kids here. Because we had, that's Tate Settle. There's probably 6, 7 guys in this class that were on our campus, on our fields, competing in the big man challenge or the shootout that we have every June. So anyway, getting the linebacker, Tristan Powell. Let's talk about relationships. We thought Tristan was the top backer on the board. His daddy, Ronnie Powell, was an all-conference, all-American for us at Northwestern State when I was coaching there for the '97 championship. Ended up returning kicks for the Cleveland Browns. He was from Hope. Originally signed with the University of Arkansas. He's a big-time track star. Tristan is as athletic as his dad. Maybe not quite 10'3", but Dad was, he's a lot smaller than Tristan, too. Tristan is athletic. He's thick. He's very physical. Love the way he plays the game. And so, we were going to take one linebacker, and then all of a sudden there's this cat, Braxton Jones, out of Nacogdoches that kept coming up in conversation. So he ends up, well, let's get him up on the trip. He walks in the door, big, long, pretty. Again, there's, when I'm over another high school in the Texarkana area. They're in the same district with this cat. And they're like, man, Coach, I saw y'all had Braxton Jones commit. Coach, I've been watching this kid since freshman year. And, just, again, the coaches on that staff at NAC, just being able to vouch for us. We've known some of those guys forever. And, the relationships with the coaches in the district who knew what kind of player he was. And so I couldn't be more fired up. I mean, this is, he's, he had a lot of stuff going on late. We're fortunate to get that signature today because he was hot, for the last week and a half. But just so lucky for him to hang in there with us and have the faith in us that we were the best spot for him, and just like Tristan. And, with those, so the two linebackers, you got your two guys back in the secondary. We get Caleb Phillips, who's a long snapper specialist. He can deep snap, but he's 6'3", 215 pounds, and he can play some linebacker too. He may be a backer, defensive end. I like ball players, our Cam player.
Versatility seems to be a big
versatility,
thing with the class.
Yeah, I mean, Cam Perry was our starting deep snapper the last 2 years. He was starting wide out.
Sure,
you know what I mean?
exactly.
So I like having football players at those positions as well. But go. I know you wanted to make a mention as former deep snapper.
Oh, yeah, no, that gets me fired up, Coach.
Yeah, I wanted to get.
I've seen you put deep snappers in 50 before. I kind of thought they might have retired that number, but
They should have.
I guess
They
it's
should
still active. So
we need to talk.
okay. That's okay.
We need to talk to the athletic director and the athletic director staff, the Hall of Fame committee.
That's right.
And get that mentioned. But so you know what? Again, fired up to have him in the mix, and then of course, like I said, I'll let Coach go on these D linemen because it's a special crew. There's no doubt.
And Coach, before you start, just to mention, it's kind of one of those things where the last couple of years, as we've entered into the season, you start, when you start breaking down a roster to kind of see, okay, what is the media going to look at from a standpoint of, okay, these are going to be this is where they're going to be experienced, or this is maybe where they're going to be a little inexperienced, and kind of let the first couple of weeks of the season play out to see how these certain positions. But defensive line has been one of those areas where it's been that experienced unit for you, and sounds like the rich might have just gotten a little bit richer.
Yeah.
No question, man. I've been here for quite some time, and I was very fortunate to come into a room that had a lot of great young men that have been here for a long time. And so, the Garrett Roberts, the J.D. Abrams, the Prince Udenzes, all those guys, and then even guys behind them, the Hunter Hewitts, the Dawson Scotts. So I've been extremely blessed. And so now we're kind of to that point to where, Dawson Scotts and the Hunter Hewitts and the Zacchaeus Burnett's, those guys are your elder statesmen. And so we really came into this class saying, Coach, we got to go get two great young defensive ends that can be the heir apparent to these guys. Sure. And that's exactly what we did. If you want to talk about relationships, I mean, I've known Jamarian Burton out of Prescott since he was just a pup. And, talk about relationships in the process of getting guys to camps. JB was a guy that came to our camp last year, a little slight, but you could see he had the frame and the potential to grow into a great football player. And we sat down and we went through some drills and things like that. And I said, JB, here's what you need to work on. Here's what college coaches are going to want to see, not only just me. And he came to the camp this summer, ran a 4.59. You see him using his hands. He's changed his body. I mean, he walks through that door. I mean, this kid looks different. So that was a really big time get for us. You go to Jamon Wheeler out of Pleasant Grove. I mean, this is a guy we didn't even think we're going to have a shot at. I mean, early on in the process, I mean, this guy had some FCF stuff going on, and we're like, man, Coach, we don't know. But again, talking about building relationships, we signed some Pleasant Groves guys last year. We go talk with Coach Gibson, hey, Coach, and we get a couple of his guys down here. Now he sees that we're developing these guys and doing the right things. Now he wants to get guys over here and kind of build that pipeline. And Jamon's going to be something special for us, man. I mean, he has speed, he has the size, he has frame to add weight. I mean, he's a guy that can play multitude of positions across the board, and he's a guy we can really move him around, kind of be a chess piece guy. And you talk about Andrew Rogers out of Nacogdoches, Texas. I mean, extremely mature young man, very wise beyond his years, very about business. He's going to be a big-time get for us playing that 3 technique. So extremely excited about his future and what he holds. And then kind of since Coach Smiley's got here, man, we've been trying to find those young 300-pound guys, so we don't have to go out and keep trying to get guys and things like that. And Dalen Ellis, I mean, this guy is, he's a cat daddy now. He's a Dan Benson Bear. I mean, he's 300 pounds, but he has the twitch. Extremely excited about what he can bring to the program. And then Cameron Johnson. I think he's one of these guys that in a few years you're really going to hear his name a lot called across the PA, man, because this guy has length, he has size. He's a guy that played O-line a bunch his junior year, and then the D-line coach came over and talked to the head coach, said, let me get him, coach, and then the rest is history. I mean, he has long arms, he has the length, he has the frame. I think the kid's going to be extremely special for us. So I think the coaching staff did a great job of getting those guys to campus and getting those guys signed, sealed, and delivered. So I'm extremely excited about these guys getting to campus and getting to work with them and helping see their progress.
It sounds like the rich got richer.
Ain't no doubt.
In that aspect.
And you hear that Travion Dickens came out of Prescott a year ago, and of course the first year we signed those cats from Prescott, and then this year from Prescott. So I suggest all head coaches out there, when you get a job, make sure you hire a recruiting coordinator whose wife's from Prescott, Arkansas. And I tell you, it helps you get through the red tape right off the bat, because they look at it, oh, we know these guys, we're good, But no, it's again the relationship side. I mean, even Cam, his defensive coordinator, and I mean, we get a lot of help. We do, and you rely on that. I mean, there's a lot of on the guys getting recruited side, the young men's side. There's a lot of faith that they have to have in this process. Them and their parents, they come to campus. But again, we put on an amazing display. Everybody that Coach talked about, the ambassadors and everybody who does the tours, Amanda's crew and all them, and they hear a lot of great things. But every campus they go to, this isn't their only visit.
Sure.
They go to these other campuses and they hear these things. So there's a lot of white noise, and sometimes they've got to have people they rely on in their life, and when they can go sit down with their coaches, and the coach knows, or a parent, somebody knows somebody that, hey, you can trust these guys. Mm-hmm. They're going to take great care of you. It's going to be a fun place to be there and a great place to be. And a big part of our process are the young men on our football team. It's the number one resource we have. We have just great kids in our program. I say it every visit, everybody who will listen, I'm telling them about the great kids in this program that we already have. And when these guys come to campus and their parents, our guys just make it personal. They take it upon themselves personally. They come introduce themselves. They come talk to them. They ask questions. They answer questions. Where, a guy's not just thinking, well, it's a coach. He's telling me what he wants, what I want to hear, blah, blah, blah. So, that's kind of the biggest thing really as well. And it's so genuine. It's so authentic. And just the vibe, just the whole energy on campus. I mean, it's a great place to be here and great time to be here. The record enrollments, the expansion, you see new things being built. That's huge. You walk into a college campus, you want to see bulldozers. You want to see piles of dirt. Yeah, it sucks to park, between the ribble and, all these kind of things for a while. But for Coach Browning and the administration to put those things in place for us where hey, here's our new Student Athlete Success Center. You know what I mean? This is for you guys to go in and to study and to have tutoring labs and meeting areas and, all the different things that they continue to do to this campus. It just, that's the icing on the cake. And I think that's why, this is such a great place to be, and we're at record enrollments, and these guys feel the same way. And then they see the product on the field with our kids and how much they love this program and enjoy being here. And so, again, just very fortunate. We're very blessed to be here in the position that we're in, and that's why, December 21 when I came and interviewed, and I said, man, we're going to build a monster here. I mean, this is a great place to be. And so, it's our boy Max Dyson that said it. I've been using it on Twitter, Feed the Monster. He came up to me at the basketball game. Jan and I were at the basketball game in December, and how's recruiting going? And coach, it's going great, Max, blah, blah, blah. And he said, well, you built the monster.
Yes,
now you got to feed it.
That's right.
And I said, you know what? I looked at Jana and she went, you going to use that? I'm like, yeah, cha-ching. Yeah, and we're going to wear that one out. But that's where that came from. And so that's our boy Max, and former mule rider himself.
That's right.
Well, he's still a mule rider. But
definitely. That's awesome. Yeah, you're feeding it with 22 outstanding young men that I know. 3 of them already on campus. The other 19 will get here soon enough, hopefully, for you guys. And then, but let's talk real quick before I let you guys go. You already got a whole bunch on campus. So talk a little bit about kind of the process of how the spring's going to go. You got a lot of momentum to build off of. I think you lost 5 starters from last year's
Yeah.
squad. So you got 19 guys on this campus in starting roles that are back. That
Yeah.
you had that leadership, that experience. Talk a little bit about kind of what the spring brings and kind of the gamification that you guys
Yeah.
bring with it, the challenges that you get those guys.
Gamification, love it, man.
Two
You know,
degrees
that's
from
the
this fine
thing,
institution,
right?
so.
Well, you know, 19 starters, but really you're talking 40 of our top 48 and
Sure.
the 2 deeps back as well. So, yeah, I think we're at 98 going through off season. It's incredible numbers. Great numbers for spring ball to do some fun things. But we had our Mule Rider Elite draft the other
Yep,
night.
saw
We
that.
had our coaches drafted the captains, the first round picks, second round picks, the third round picks all got to take the stage and take their pictures. That's where we're at. We just, you know, you start over. This is 24's journey. Every team's new team. Every year's different. You know, 10 wins don't get you squat in 24.
That's
10
right.
wins in 23 don't get you anything but
That's
a
right.
bullseye.
That's right.
And a lot of you know, guys out there that weren't really happy with you. You know, when you beat them on Saturday, and they just cranked it up a little bit harder. You got obviously you had a lot of success, so you had coaches get opportunities to get jobs and to move on. You know, coaches got head jobs and took, you know, went to pro ball, and it's just part of it, man. It's part of success, and so I kind of expect to go through that every year. You know,
Yeah.
there is a certain, you know, dance and that you have to go through to put it all together. But you know, that's the biggest thing. But our journey for 24, it's already started, man. Our guys they're already in the weight room. They're already grinding it out. Coach Pond, you know, again, best strength coach in the country at this level. I guarantee it. And you know, our guys are already in it and they're grinding. We've had our draft. Our guys are ready to compete. They're ready for off season. Next Monday morning starts Breakfast Club. You know, so we really grind that corn and get up early and go. You know, and just again, it's just kind of what we do. It feeds into our core values as a program. You know, we're going to outwork everybody, you know, and our kids know that. We're not going to sign guys that bring kids in this program that aren't great workers. And every year that goes along, it's easier. You got to remember, when I first got here, that first spring, probably lost 10, 12 guys right off the bat. Whoa, you know, this ain't for me. And that's fine, because it's not. And I tell everybody,
not for
playing college
everybody.
football is hard, you're right? And you got 2 full-time jobs, and there's a lot of required of you, and there's a lot of expected of you. But, you know, that's the thing. I think last year maybe 2, and this year we'll see. But I think, you know, you hope not to lose anybody. I mean, that's the whole point. We're building a team. We're chasing greatness. We're trying to put a ring on our finger, and you know, we're trying to just, you know, we've set the bar, you know, and then the bar, you know, and you got to meet the standard, right? And then you try to raise the bar again and raise the bar again. That's just us. We're trying to find ways. How can we get better each and every day? How can we wake up and find a way to get 1% better and 1% better and 1% better? And when it's all said and done, you know what I mean? It's the Mule Rider should be talked about in the end, just like we were last year. But hopefully this time we'll get a chance we'll kick the door in instead of just knocking on it.
That's right. That's right. Well, Coach Langley, Coach Smiley, congratulations on another outstanding recruiting class. I know the marker board and the expo marker's probably already out getting ready for 25 as we sit here and speak. But best of luck. Hope for a healthy spring, and we'll be seeing from you guys real soon.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks, bro.